The movie begins with a boy, Eric, with his groceries heading somewhere. He sees his horse on the ground wailing in pain and runs over to it and sees it has been injured. Eric tries to save the horse but it unfortunately dies. The scene shifts to a woman, Shelly, lying on her couch as she answers the call from Zaid telling her to check what she sent her, which was video evidence of a murder that occurred. Zaid enters a building and sees someone there. She tries to run away but is cornered. The woman Marin takes her phone while a man injects her with tranquilizer. Shell goes to Zaid to check on her but a man is following her. Zaid bumps into an officer causing substances fall from her bag, making the officers arrest her and scaring the man following her away. The scene shifts to a jail station where some of the inmates are bullying another inmate, which we see is Eric grown up. The scene shifts to a therapist telling Eric to join his classes with the other inmate. Then we see Shell in jail being escorted to her cell. She and Eric make a contact. Then we see a party. Rag is sitting as a man introduces a female young protégé from Vienna to him. He tells her to sit and they get to discuss and get to know each other. Marin comes to take Rag, telling she wants to speak with him, and she tells him they have found Zaid. He goes to Zaid as she wakes up. He asks her for Shelly but she says she doesn't know. It seems Rag is involved in something sinister and evil. He tells Zaid he has made a deal with Devil and he has to take innocent souls to hell. He whispers something in her ear which makes Zaid's eyes go white and kill herself. Rag also cuts his hands and places them on Zaid's stab wounds to absorb her life from her. Eric and the other inmates exercising. He gets apprehended and is told to not slack off. Zaid goes to sit with Eric for lunch. She greets Eric but he doesn't respond, but they later get to talking before the guard comes to take Eric away. Then we see Eric in his cell arranging his stuff because the other inmates thrashed it. Shelly comes over to help and sees a drawing of herself. She sees his other work like poems, music and other drawings. As they talk they get interrupted by a guard announcing that Shell had a visitor. Shell goes to take a look and she sees it's Rag, Marianne, and the woman who found out Shell's location. She panics as she knows those are the people that took Zaid and want her next. Eric helps her to escape and he goes with her and they both run into the woods. They stop a vehicle and get a ride. Shell takes Eric to one of her friend's places to stay, and meantime they fiddle around with each other and later take a bath together. At the same time, police team finding Zaid's body in the ocean. One of the policemen calls Marin to tell her she has a problem on her hands. Rag is in a theater listening to the woman from Vienna play the piano. He gets a phone call from Marin telling him they found Zaid's body. She tells them not to worry and that they are close to finding Shell. The scene switches to Shelly and Eric having a fun time in the outdoors, swimming and having a picnic. Eric is playing the piano and Shell is singing. Eric forces her to also play the piano, and as she plays the piano she gets a flashback of her Zaid and Rag. So she and Eric go off for a walk and she opens up to him about her love for playing the piano and how her mom forced her to play at places she shouldn't have been at. She tells him she has seen things she isn't supposed to and has hurt people. She tells him she wants to start over and he says he will always be by her side. The two go clubbing to have fun and Shelly goes to get water. That's when Dom approaches her and tells her Zaid is dead and they have to leave town now. Shell says he can't go without Eric, but Dom is trying to convince her. Shell goes to Eric and tells him they have to leave now, so they go to Eric's place, but they find out the place has been intruded as they both get captured by Rag and his people. Shell gets suffocated in front of Eric and he also gets suffocated. Just then Eric wakes up and realizes they both have been dumped in the ocean. It seems they didn't die from the suffocation and only passed out. Eric swims to take Shell's hands as she is drowning but can't get a hold of her. Eric is out of breath and swims back up to shore to get air. He is in despair as he couldn't save Shelly. Then he sees a man in the distance and follows him. He follows him to an unknown place and asks the man to tell him where he is. It turns out that he died, but because he is carrying a burden his soul can't rest in peace, so the man sends him back. Eric comes back to life and wakes up in the apartment. He sees they had all gone and taken Shelly with them. Eric hears a man come in and the man is asked to look for Shell's cell phone. Eric goes to hide but the man knows he is there and tells him to come out. The man tells him he is a cop and Eric comes out to start explaining what happened, but the man shoots him. Eric falls but gets back up and attacks the man. They get into a fight and Eric manages to stab the cop and Eric goes to look at his injuries in the mirror. He's badly hurt but suddenly his injuries start to heal instantly and he is fine like nothing happened. He hears a man's voice telling him the crow will guide him to put the wrong things right, so it seems he is given a second chance at life to make things right. He sees Shelly jumping off a bridge and jumps after her, which makes him return to the old mysterious man. He asks him if he and Shell are dead. He says yes. Eric asks why he is there and she isn't. So the man tells Eric she is on her way far worse than anything. Eric asks the man what he meant by he should make the wrong things right. The man tells him that one that killed him made a deal with the devil to gain eternal life by sending the innocent to hell, so he shouldn't have been in his world. He tells Eric to kill Rag and his people and he will get their lives back, including Shell. The man tells Eric that as long as his love remains pure he can't die. Then he sends him back. We see Eric visiting his friend and tells him he needs a gun. The scene switches to the woman who gave Mary Shell's location going to her car from a burial. It turns out Shell was her daughter. Eric is in the car waiting for her and tells her they need to talk. He asked her who was after her and why was she with the people who killed her on the day she came to visit her in jail. She says it was an overdose, but Eric tells her he was there. The woman tells Eric he doesn't understand who he is dealing with. The woman breaks down and Eric leaves to survey the house. He finds a picture of Shelly, Zaid and Dom and sees a band with Rag's name on it. He heads out and sees one of Rag's men in a car and threatens him with his gun. He enters his car and tells him to give the names of all the people he works for. The man tries to act smart but Eric quickly shoots him. Eric takes the man's phone and sees a message from Marin telling him they have found Dom and gives him an address to head to. Eric sees a man and Marin getting into a car, so he tries to attack them, but they manage to fight him off inside the car and throw him to the side of the road. Eric is seriously injured but gets back up as his injuries start to heal. Then the scene switches to Rag arriving at Shell's mom's house and he asks Sophia what Eric wants. She tells him he said he wants to kill him and that if he could bring Shelly back from the dead. It turns out Sophia traded Shell so she could have a better life but is now regretting it. He whispers demonically into her ear, putting her in a trance and making her kill herself. The young pianist witnessed Sophia's suicide and is terrified, thinking Rag might have caused it. Rag calls Marin and tells him that Eric has the power to escape death and he orders her to bring Eric to him. Eric catches up to Dom and accuses him of being a part of the whole thing, but Dom tells him he was trying to help Shelly get away. He explains to Eric that Rag controls people to do evil things and he tells they are after them because of the video he made. Eric asks for the video and Dom tells him Shell had the video on her phone and that she hid it. Eric goes to the apartment where he and Shell stayed. He finds Shell's phone and watches the video which Rag used Shelly to kill one of their friends, causing Eric to repulse. Eric heads out to his friend's place and says he can't do this anymore. His friend tries to calm him down and just then Rag's men barge into the room and tell Eric to come with them. Eric tries to fight them off but they end up killing Eric's friend. One of the men shoot Eric and he returns to the place with a mysterious old man. Eric asks why he is back there and why he stopped healing. The man reminds him that his love needs to remain pure, but he starts doubting her. The man tells him to let her go because he wasted his chance. Eric tells him to exchange his soul for hers and all of a sudden the crows start flocking around and the man tells him there is no going back from it. The man performs a type of ritual on him which gives him another chance to come back to life and his wounds are all healed. He shoots all the men one at a time and beats one to death. He picks up one of the men's phones and sees his with Marin telling her that they killed him and she replies by telling a man to meet them at opera in 2 hours. Then the scene switches to Marin telling Rag the news that Eric was killed. Eric goes to the opera. As the opera show begins we see Eric killing the security men one after the other. One of the henchmen reports to Marin that Eric is there and Eric continues fighting and killing off the henchmen. Marin calls Rag to tell him Eric is there and killing all the henchmen. Eric gets to where Marin is and asks where Rag is. She tells him where he is and Eric asks Marin why she killed them. She tells him it starts off so small and before she knows it she a part of it. Then Eric kills her too. The opera ends and the performers bow to the audience as Eric crashes it and goes on stage in front of the audience with Marion and one of the henchmen's heads in his hands. He tosses it to the crowd as they all scramble in fear. He leaves the opera and heads to where Marin told him Rag is. Rag is indeed there as Eric enters the room and sees him. Rag tells Eric that he can't bring Shelly back. Rag tries to manipulate Eric and he gets close enough to him and whispers demonically into his ear which makes Eric collapse. Rag absorbs the life from Eric but he can't absorb it fully as Eric gets his consciousness back and fights off Rag, making them both fall off the building. Rag ends up in the place where the mysterious man is. Eric finishes off Rag and then we see Shell rise from the water where she drowned and she hugs Eric. He tells her she gets to go back but he can't go with her which makes her sad. Then Shelly comes back to life and we see she was saved by a group of policemen. She looks beside her and sees Eric's dead body. The scene switches to Eric reminiscing their memories as he is on his way to hell.